What we do to the planet, we do to ourselves. You can help keep America beautiful. Visit KAB.org.
Green, green, green. It's your home, it's your dream. Radon testing, keep it healthy and clean. Make it green, green, green.
Making it green starts from the ground up, so make sure the air in your home is healthy for your family to breathe. Test your home for the presence of radon. Go to epa.gov/radon.
Make it green, green, green.
Hi, I'm Vicki Gassaway, the Director for Walton County Senior Citizens Council, and you may be able to tell since the last time I've spoken with you, I have developed neurological speech disorder, but we still have some great news to tell you, and I'm going to turn it over to my assistant, Susan Ferguson, who will be introducing our guests. So, Susan.
Okay. We're pleased to be partnering again this year with the Partnership of Community Action. They will be using our facility again for the taking applications for the assistance, and we'll be taking those by appointment only. We have Heather Smith here with us today to give the phone numbers to call to set up appointments and to give you other requirement information. Heather, could you tell us a little bit about the program and the requirements for applying and the phone numbers?
Thank you, Susan, for the introduction. We will begin scheduling appointments and taking energy assistance applications beginning November 1st here at the Walton Senior Center starting at 8 o'clock. For households that contain senior citizens 65 and older and disabled individuals that will have a hardship applying during the general public period starting December 2nd. Applicants must bring income from the last 30 days, a picture ID, social security cards for everyone in the household, and their most recent heating bill. The numbers you can call are 770-292-8335 or 770-292-8211. To avoid the long lines, we ask you to call before you come to make your appointment.
Heather, now a lot of times they may get a busy signal or have to leave a message. What happens when they leave a message?
We will return the call within 24 hours.
Okay, that's great. So this is a great benefit for our seniors and for the public of Walton County, and we encourage you to call those numbers that she mentioned and get ready to apply for your energy assistance this year. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Right, there are two that are still in the Fellowship Hall Methodist Church, and so a lot of these windows luckily are still in existence. I'm glad when they, now in the Methodist defense, they sold the church to the Presbyterians. So it was the Presbyterians who did away with it. This is an interior shot, and I'm going to place this during the Second World War. It's decorated for Christmas, but this looks like the service flag. If you can look closer, if you get a closer look at this, you can see that these are stars, which were used to indicate the members of the church that were serving in the military during the war. Today is a parking lot, which is good or bad, you be the judge. But that's not the Methodist fault. The Presbyterians did that. And the Methodists built this church, which is still with us today. Beautiful church. This is First Christian Church, which was also on Church Street. And this picture was made sometime after 1901. I don't know the exact date. This building was remodeled, the steeple removed, and then eventually the Christians moved out on Baker Street, and we have not only a parking lot but an office building too there, and the new Christian church on Baker Street, which really isn't new anymore. My wife and I were married there, and we've been married almost 50 years. Yeah, this is the Sanborn map from 1888, and I want to talk a minute about the post office. This is where we're sitting right now, and this yellow, this is a dwelling. This is somebody's house, And the pink indicates a brick building, and it's usually a commercial building. So there were two dry goods stores, I think these are here, and you can see there's practically nothing on this side of Broad Street. Here's the courthouse.
There's the Felton Bank.
Yeah. Right, here's the Felka Bank right here. And but the post office sat in this location right here. Ms. Martha Rooks was the postmaster at that time, and it was actually in her backyard. So she had it built. And if you would put it there today, it'd be in Sherwin-Williams parking lot. It was later moved. Now, that last shot, it was right here, and we've moved across this alley that's actually behind where we are tonight into a storefront here. And we saw this a while ago when we were talking about the banks. This is the location of that post office. Okay, this is a 1916 map, and we're sitting right here, right now. Just in case you want to know, they sold buggies in this building. The post office was right down the street. Let's see, I think here's a close-up. We got buggies for sale where we're sitting right now. Now, it says buggies. Maybe they built buggies or repaired buggies, or so, I don't know. They did something with buggies. Next door was furniture. Next door to that was a barbershop, which later became Lacey's Barbershop, I believe. But in the back of the barbershop, there was an undertaker. But don't worry, it had a concrete floor, it says here, so they were safe. Next door to that was the Coca-Cola Bottling Works, Walton Tribune, and the post office occupied this space. And here's a shot of those today, give you some bearing. This is the consignment shop that's next door to Amici's. That's where the barbershop and the undertaker was. Coca-Cola Company was where Lollipops is. The Walton Tribune was here, and then the post office was in what is now the Tribune's front counter, that space there. Well, as long as this is the last one now. Yeah.
And in the morning, you'll see daylight through the window. There is no roof on, there's no second story there.
That's a good point, Larry.
That was originally an alley.
An alley.
An alley. Every major building had alleys between. But if you look at those two windows in the consignment shop, during any time during the day you're out, you'll see the sky through those two windows.
So there's no upstairs, it's just a facade.
Yeah, that was the last full barber shop in Monroe. You could get a shoe shine, a shave, a haircut, and a shower.
Well, you just get a bed, you can move in there.
One room for bed, but there's two showers.
Now, this is a picture that Mr. Carnes made of South Broad Street, and you can see the names of, most of these houses are gone. Some of them luckily have been moved to other locations. The ones that are still with us, the Williamson home, or the Carter Watkins as the Baptist folks call it. The Coleman Mobley is where the Methodist Church is. You can see the mill down here, Baptist Church here. Jack Arnold lived on this corner. Have any of you ever been to a Chautauqua?
Yeah.
Yeah, Tom has. Okay.
They used to have, Ed Carwell used to have one at the courthouse. It's some religious thing with a lot of music and so forth. It could be very entertaining.
Well, that's about good. There was a Chautauqua going on then, and as Tom said, it was just kind of an entertainment. It was usually had a religious theme, but they had people who sang. They had bands, orchestras, and usually a speaker. I had the program for one that was in 1937, and the first night's speaker was talking on the subject of Ethiopia. So I'm not sure how religious that was, but
Mr. Ed Caldwell, who was the editor of Walton News.
Yeah.
He would run a Chicago in the courthouse.
And Mr. Caldwell, he was a preacher too, wasn't he? Yeah. Okay, well, anyway, getting back to Jack Arnold, a couple other, I don't have, this is the only picture I have of Jack Arnold's house, but again, Mr. Carnes, who lived right across the street, made a lot of pictures with Mr. Arnold's house in the background. And here's one. This is Jack Arnold's house back here, and this is Monroe's 1915 track team. And this is Ezra Chick, who lived in the house that the Baptist Church bought, made into a fellowship hall. This is Lee and Andy Malcolm's office, which at that time was Mr. Carnes' house. So, they're standing on Washington Street. Here's another shot, Mr. Arnold's house here. And this is a Mitchell wagon loaded with cotton and pulled by two very hungry mules. And here's, you can see the Walton Hotel back here. Well, Mr. Arnold sold his property to the United States government, who built a post office there. And this is a picture from 1931 of work beginning on that post office. And you can see the hotel, which was on the other side of the hotel. And it's a little further in the year. This is December of 31. They're coming along. This building in the background here is what was the Union Bank. I think the Union Bank merged with Bank of Monroe in 1926, so it was not the Union Bank by then. And here's the finished post office.
I'm going to tell you a little side on that.
Tom's going to tell us something.
There's a little black fellow, he was a peculiar looking fellow, they call him Preach. Preach loved to hang out in front of that post office, give me a nickel, give me a nickel, give me a nickel. He'd get all kinds of nickels. He'd give me a dime, he wouldn't take it. No, if I quit taking nickels, if I started taking those, it won't give me a nickel anymore.
Okay, and the goat man now has moved out of the hotel and he's mailing a few letters on his way out of town. And here's our Music and Art Guild today. Still a beautiful building. This is Mr. Carnes. Larry, what's this guy's name? Handsome. Manson. I don't know where he was a cowboy, but he was a cowboy. But Mr. Carnes made a series of pictures from the top of the courthouse. I decided it'd be a good idea to do the same thing, you know, to imitate his pictures. And so one day I went to the courthouse, knocked on the door. This nice lady came to the door and she said, I said, I'd like to go up on the roof. And she said, well, you can't. You have to talk with, I forgot the lady's name, who's head of the county's facilities. But she, Joyce Chambers, she's a very nice lady also. Well, anyway, I went out to the new courthouse and I talked with Joyce. And she said, yeah, you can go up there, just don't fall off. And I said, well, I don't need to sign anything. She said, no, it doesn't matter. So I went back to the historic courthouse and they let me in, and a gentleman with the recreation department carried me up to the third floor and opened the door, and this is what I saw. This sign says low headroom. That should be changed to no headroom. This is a little under 4 feet right here. You have to crawl through this space, and you go up this step, and then you crawl through this space, and until you get to these stairs. You go up these stairs into the room where the clock is. The works of the clock have been modernized a lot, and they're actually on the floor below this, but the bell still rings and the clock works. Then there's another shot of the bell. Then you leave this room by this ladder. Now this ladder is handmade, and from all I can tell, it's been there since the courthouse was built in the 1880s. And I'm not a little guy. So I had some misgivings about going up the ladder, but I made it up the ladder, and you notice what the floor above looks like. It's just a bunch of boards laying up there. And you get up there, and here's this dilapidated step ladder that's just leaning against the wall. The middle rung's missing completely, and this rung's been replaced by 2 before. So you climb up this ladder, and then you push this trap door off the top, and voila, you're on the roof. So after I got used to being up there, the trip up there was the worst part, but after I got used to being up there, I got Mr. Karn's photographs out and started trying to copy them. This is a shot to the southeast. You'll recognize the post office here in the center. And if we go back from my picture to the picture that Mr. Karn's made, it's quite a difference. You can see it's much more pastoral and serene. This grassy field and garden is Peters and Foster's parking lot. I think here's a combination of the two pictures. But a few of the things are still there. The jail's still here. You can see the jail here in this picture. And here's the first high school that was built in 1901. It's gone now. The Pilot Park is in where it was. But we're going to talk about that in chapter 2. So you all need to come back to chapter 2. Just a side note, this house in the center belonged to George and Lena Lewis. And I don't know for sure, but I think George passed away fairly soon, and Lena lived here for years, and she was a mainstay in a lot of the clubs in Monroe, the garden clubs, the women's club, the DAR. Well, she had beautiful gardens around her home, and the home itself was beautiful also, as were a lot of these along here. But this is Ms. Lewis right here in the center. This is the Athenaeum Club. We have some of their members with us tonight, but I don't think they're in this picture. This was their 59th anniversary in 1949. And but getting back to Ms. Lewis, in the 1960s, 1964, a grand jury decided we needed a new courthouse. And so the Chamber of Commerce had the great idea of tearing the old courthouse down and putting up what? A parking lot. That's right. Well, Ms. Lewis didn't like that idea. And so she wrote a letter to the Tribune. She got her cohorts to do the same, and I think they were bombarded with letters. And fortunately for us, the courthouse was saved. I'll just read you this one short paragraph right here that she wrote. I am unalterably opposed to the proposal to raise the pretty old landmark, and as for making a parking lot on the site, it would be a disgrace to Monroe. So we can thank Ms. Lewis and her cohorts for saving our courthouse for her. Unfortunately, as soon as Ms. Lewis passed away, her heirs sold her house, and the federal government put up a post office and a parking lot. So. This is a shot down South Broad Street, the Methodist Church. Here's the Karn's house right here. And this is a shot, you've seen this earlier, that Mr. Karn's made of the same stretch. The Walton Hotel is still with us. Not a hotel. Oh, here's my Chautauqua thing, but I'm not going to read that to you. I would point out that it does say that the West Walton Orchestra was playing. Now, I don't know what that was, but I don't think it's around anymore either. And this is a shot he made. This is a shot I made straight in front of the courthouse, and this is the one that I showed you a while ago that Mr. Karn's made. Most of these buildings, or some of these buildings in back, were livery stables. Had a lot of stables back then. And this is Spring Street. Spring Street was named Spring Street because there actually were 3 springs in Monroe, and one of them was in this area here.
Is that Children's Park?
Yeah, this is would be Children's Park down here. It used to be the football field, and the library would be right about here. Can't see this building too well, and I'm going to talk about this in chapter 2, but I would mention this building's still there. It's a church today, but it was our first city hall, our first fire department, and our first jail, all in this building. That's at the corner of Wayne Street and Spring Street. If you're sitting at this red light, which if you ever get caught, you sit there a while. If you look across at this building, you can see there's a big door that's been closed up, which is where the fire engine was kept. And this is looking north on Broad Street. And here's the new City Hall. And this is where the Carsons lived, we talked about a while ago. And this is what it looked like in a little after 1907. The Methodist Church is complete. Dean House is here. I was telling Harry Arnold earlier, if you have the full view of this picture, Larry's got that, but Harry and Helen's house is right over here, just out the right. You can't see it in this one. Yeah, I'd like to finish up with Roy Rogers. You've heard of the 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon. You can connect anybody to Kevin Bacon in 6 degrees. Well, I'm going to show you how to connect Monroe to Roy Rogers in less than 6 degrees. This is part of Rest Haven Cemetery, the city cemetery. And long ago and far away, it was not a cemetery. It was Almanite Allen Memorial Park. You've probably seen this sign and thought, well, that's not a park, it's a cemetery. But at one time, this part of this wall was not here, and this area right here was indeed a park with, I think, a pond, at least a spring in this area where those trees are. But this is what it looked like, and it was used by families for family reunions. This is a school picture. These are students having a picnic there, as are these. But getting back to Roy and Trigger, this gentleman's name is Bonaparte Allen, Jr. And Mr. Allen was not from Monroe, he was from Beaufort. But he married Almanite, who lived, Jane told me this morning, right down the street from the cemetery, or across the street from the cemetery. And when Ms. Allen passed away, Mr. Allen bought the property to have the park built in honor of his, or in memory of his wife. Well, Mr. Allen in Beaufort ran the Bona Allen Tannery, which at its height employed over 2,000 people. And what does a tannery make? Saddles, that's right. And guess whose saddle was made at the Bona Allen Tannery? They made saddles not only for Trigger, but for Gene Autry's horse, Dan Blocker's horse, Lash LaRue, Gabby Hayes, Kenny Rogers, and even Buffalo Bill Cody. And they have a statue today in the middle of Beaufort showing Roy and Trigger and the last saddle maker that Bona Allen Tannery had working for them.
When the union organized, Mr. Allen went out of business.
Yeah, they had a resurgence during the Second World War because of, I don't know, there's a lot of things that were rationed, and that did the tannery business good, but finally they did go out of business. Just wasn't that much call for it. That's the conclusion of my program. I hope it's been worth your trip up here. We're going to try this again sometime next year with Chapter 2.
Thank you, Steve, for such a wonderful program, and thank you for the citizens of Monroe and Walton County that came out tonight. We're just delighted you came. We're very proud of the Historical Society, and I think we have most of our board members here, if not all. If you're a board member, raise your hand. They're probably all, well, they're scattered all over. And if you would like to talk more about the Historical Society or find out something about it, speak to one of these people tonight before you leave. I think we might, I don't know if there's any more refreshments left. There should be some. And we have the pictures and the books. But we're just delighted that you came out, and that's the end of our official program. And God bless.
We thank Krista Carroll for letting us use Wayfarer's Music Hall.
Yes. And getting the microphone to work.
Hello, I'm Verlin Deaton along with Conrad Barnes. Conrad, we're here in Bostwick, Georgia again for the tractor parade.
Yes, we are. It's a beautiful day, isn't it, Verlin? It's going to be a great parade, and I think we're going to see some nice two-cylinder tractors as well as others in the parade.
Well, a large crowd is gathering here at the moment, and there's going to be a lot of people around here for the parade, and they'll linger afterwards because of all of the concession stands and other items of interest that are on display here today. So it's going to be, actually it's not as cold today as it's all been in the past.
Yes, isn't that nice? It's going to be a beautiful day up in the upper 60s. It's going to be a lot of fun to be out here in this sun and watching all these people enjoy the parade.
Yes, and it's going to be pleasantly weather-wise. So we're going to have the parade here in just a short time, so we appreciate you tuning in and watching the parade, as it'll be on television in the Monroe and actually here in Bostwick area too, Social Circle area. And as soon as the production person, Jennifer, she does all of the editing, and she is with us today as our camera person, and it's a pleasure to have her. She looks a lot better than Paul.
Oh yeah, it's nice to have somebody like that with us. And we also might want to mention that videos will be available through Creative Artists there in Monroe. They're $10. Just give us a phone call. The number I don't have right at the moment, but it's in the phone book. Give us a call and we'll ship you one for $10.
Okay, that's very good, Conrad. And again, the Bostwick Tractor Parade held the first Saturday in November, and we will have it as soon as the tractors start rolling. And if you are viewing us, we appreciate you doing so. And we are going to all have a good time today here in Bostwick because of the weather is so nice, and a lot of good people here. They had a road race earlier here, people running all down the road, and it took forever for me to land here when I came in. I had to drive around and around and around. I felt like I was in a helicopter, but otherwise I was on the ground trying to find a place to park, and I finally did. That's how crowded it's going to be. And there's a machine here today that we have done a story on before on this program, and of course that's the hit and miss motor that our friend has, and he's on display today also. So a lot of tractors are expected, and the situation is that everything's going to be excitement from the time they start rolling until they stop rolling, and we are going to let you know all about it, right, Conrad?
Yes, we are. And you mentioned the two-cylinder or one-cylinder really hit and miss engine that's behind us here. It's one that they're going to crank up, I think, later in the day and let everyone see what a hit and miss is. It's also a unit that was used up in the Barracana area to pull a cotton gin up there. It's only rated at 12 horsepower, but with those big flywheels, it just keeps moving.
Yeah, right, yes. And the boys done a great job by restoring it too. Did you notice that?
Yes, I did, and it's an International Harvester. An old company goes back in the teens, 20s, and 30s that also produced tractors, but the hit and miss engine you'll see it in the video, and it's directly behind us.
All right, and the fact too that the ceremonies will get underway on the balcony just a short ways from us before the parade starts. So we'll let you know all about it when the activities begin here, and you just hang on, folks, and don't move that down.
The fire truck really makes a lot of noise, doesn't it?
I'm telling you.
To get started.
Right. They can get your attention, that's one thing for sure. I wonder how many tractors we have today.
I don't know, but they're beginning to show up, so it won't be long before we'll be seen. You know, in the past years, we've had anywhere from 100 to 120, so I'm hoping we'll have that many today.
Right. And you had to see the cotton pickers all lined up.
Yes, it is. Cotton picker, that's 4-row. Of course, the farmer here in Bostwick is a big cotton farmer, so he's going to show us the cotton picker.
Mayor, see, Bostwick.
Yeah, it's being pulled by the late series of 2 cylinders, the 530 series. Well, that's a beautiful 55 Chevy, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm telling you. That's old time. They chased liquor cars back then, didn't they? What is this, a roadster?
It's a roadster of some kind. It looks like it's
a Morgan.
Morgan? Yeah. That's a new one on me. It looks like it might be engine out of a motorcycle. Yeah, you hear that sound.
Oh yeah.
John Deere 2-cylinder.
Right.
Pulling a wagon with Halloween theme on it. Sound like it's going to quit, but it won't.
Yeah. I like this hit and miss motor bias beside of us over here.
And a current model John Deere tractor.
That's a beautiful tractor.
A lot of difference in the operator compartment as well as the basic unit itself.
This
in the middle of the year.
This one coming up is an old one.
This is a 4020, which was introduced while I was working with Deere. It introduced in 1960. It's an inline engine. You can notice it is very quiet.
Well, there's a load of people there too. Gibbs Memorial Baptist Church right here in Bostwick. Renew America.
'69 Chevy, that's a nice looking one, isn't it? And the pickup, oh, that's, I don't know, probably a 65, 67 model, somewhere in that neighborhood. I'm not familiar with the early ones. And a good looking cruiser.
Jack's Creek Christmas Tree Farm, and they raise a little bit of everything down there. It's close by the way, close to Bostwick.
This drags back your memories, doesn't it?
I'm telling you. What model is that, would you say?
I would say a 28, 29, 30, somewhere along in that way. And the pickup, that's very unusual. This one's a little earlier. I don't know. It's a beauty though. What model?
Yes, that pickup is green.
That's his fishing wagon.
Yeah, okay. Everybody having a good time here. This place is packed today. I believe this is the biggest crowd yet.
It sure looks like it. Normally it's not this 3 and 4 deep as you see now in the others that we've had, so I bet the crowd is going to be the biggest that we've had. Of course, I'm hoping it's that way every year.
I think so. Donna Shelton. So it's a good turnout here today. The weather is cooperating really good, and it's really going to be a sunny day.
Oh, the kids are having a great time riding.
Yes, they are.
There's a hay wagon on the trailer.
This is What year model Chevrolet pickup truck? Beautiful.
That looks like it's in the early 70s to me.
Yes.
University of Georgia. That's a way to celebrate the Bulldogs.
Yeah. It's that thing looks like it could float on water.
It looks like it.
Good-looking vehicles.
They sure are. Here comes another one of those odd ones. Looks like it's got his feet on top.
That's a bed, yeah, motorized bed.
Oh, the motorized wheelchair. If you don't like the way I drive, stay off the sidewalk.
Oh, man.
The Arab Temple really has some nice looking vehicles.
I knew that they would show up. They usually do.
Yeah.
56 Ford or 55?
56.
56, okay.
The Masons are really represented today with all the units coming out from the Arab temples. Here comes another one that's a unique vehicle.
Volkswagen, isn't it?
Volkswagen.
Yes. And
that's kind of an early model. Looks like he made it into a type of pickup.
Here comes another floater.
Oh yeah, that's an Edsel. Many people don't remember the Edsel, but it was a car that Ford produced back in the mid-60s, I believe it was.
It would definitely float if it ran into water.
Good display of antique cars.
Crown Victoria Ford.
Yes. Polished and shine like you wouldn't believe.
Yes, sir. Looks really good. That's what they call a hard top.
That's it. Wraparound windshield too.
Yes, sir.
Typical of the 50s.
I used to own one similar to that right there. Brings back a lot of memories.
Yes.
Of course, I was single back then.
Yeah, I had a 56 Chevy, painted yellow and black.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yellow, it goes good because of John Deere.
Right. And the horses here, beautiful horses, carrying the American flag. The ladies riding the horses.
That horse is a magnificent animal, isn't it?
I'm telling you. I don't know which one looks the best, the horses
they
or the
all
ladies.
Look good. They all look good. All the ladies have the, well, there's one without spurs. I guess she doesn't spur hers. Don't have a cleanup behind.
Yes. Where's the cleanup committee?
Yeah. That horse is a little spry.
Yeah. I bet it's. I would think it would be a little bit dangerous to ride something like that.
Oh, here he comes.
Cleanup man. Oh, and he's getting a hand too for cleaning up the area. As I said, an army policing up the area.
Yeah. Oh. Well, here's what we're waiting for. The John Deere Two-Cylinder Club. They're the sponsors of the parade and the one that originally developed it. Now, hopefully we'll get to see some of the two-cylinder units as well as some of the inline engines, the 40 series.
Don't you think North Georgia Two-Cycle Club. Here comes
John Deere 70. It goes back to the 50s, late 50s. Runs well too.
Yes, it does. Slick as a button, my father used to say.
And the John Deere 22 cotton picker. It's
One row.
mounted on a regular tractor.
One row cotton picker.
One row. I worked with one of those back in the late 50s.
Did you? Well, I worked in the cotton field, but it was not with a picker. I was a picker. A 4-row. This is a 4-row cotton picker.
That gives you a good idea of what it was like from the start to what's available now. 4 rows, and now they have up to 6 rows, I understand. I saw
Yes.
the pictures the other day of up to 6 rows for the big fields of cotton.
Well, that thing would hold, the basket would hold 2 bales of cotton.
Yes. And John Deere's unit
2-row.
that was mounted not on a tractor but as a single unit.
Yes.
730 John Deere diesel, still a 2-cylinder, late 50s. They manufactured them through 1960 and then moved the production facilities to Argentina.
What year model would this old one be? And that is an old one.
This goes back to the late 20s, early 30s.
That's a 8N Ford tractor?
Very popular unit. The 8N was, I remember it being a high seller at some of the South Georgia, South Alabama farmers because it was a good utility.
56, 58, okay. And that's a high rise.
High crop. Very collectible item too. There were not many of them made, of course, and that makes it a highly collectible item.
That's a heavy tractor.
Yeah, John Deere D. Late 20s, early 30s, they made them up to some models up until the early 40s. One of John Deere's smallest 2-cylinders was the H. That's the one going by now. Boy, it's really spit and polish, isn't it?
Right.
Hey, Ronnie. John Deere A is kind of a mid-power unit, but it was very popular back in the late 20s and late 30s.
Heat tractor.
These go through probably a 40, 42, 47, somewhere along in that area.
Little tractor, Boland's.
MT, it was produced after the war. That was one of the first items that Deere manufactured once the war was over, and they made it in Dubuque, Iowa.
Another older one right here, but it's a huge tractor.
That's the smallest of what we call the Waterloo tractors, 50s, 60s, 70s, 720s, 20 series and 30 series, all Waterloo made units, Waterloo, Iowa. The original John Deere factory.
Then we have, what is this? Massey
Farmall
Ferguson?
Cub.
Oh, it's a Farmall, okay.
Farmall Cub that was very popular for mowing tractors, general utility use around the farm. Ideal for gardens.
Another old tractor.
Old Butthead at 36 it says.
Almost as old as I am.
Dan Bennett. Yeah, Dan Bennett owns that one out of not Bostwick, but Good Hope, Georgia.
Right. Kubota.
Yeah, Kubota.
It's one of the newer ones.
John Deere B, a 2-cylinder Waterloo tractor, one of the first one of the most popular, and more of those sold than any other model tractor that fit the farmers back in the late 30s and 40s and even the 50s, some of the 50s, early 50s. I love that sound.
Yes.
Give you an idea what new unit looks like. That some of Deere's, what they call the Consumer Products Division.
Farmall. That's an H.
The John Deere the Two-Cylinder Club of North Georgia also accepts all models and all brands of tractors for people to show in the parade and to be members of the club. It started off as a two-cylinder unit only, but there's a lot of other units that's being developed now and being restored, and that's what the club is for all members to be.
And that's a long tractor.
Develop some kind of antique tractor or antique unit of some type, farm unit. Good-looking Farmall C. Says it's a 1951.
What's this?
That looks like a kind of a homemade unit that he put looks like a 9 horsepower Briggs & Stratton engine on it. But it looks like it's working good.
Yeah, another Farmall, small one.
I'm assuming he used that for some of the use around his garden.
Yeah.
Very popular M unit, International Harvester, Farmall division. Nice looking tractors.
They run so smooth. Of course, they were built with a 4-cylinder motor, and they run so smooth.
Very popular in their day.
Here's another big one with the M. That's about as big as it gets with the Farmall.
I had many demonstrations with some of the 20 and 30 series against the M's and the M. I think they call them MTs.
Right.
Torque converters. The only difference I can see in this B is well painted and looks good, but you notice it has a straight stack, makes it sound a little more. You can get a good idea of what the engine sounds like. You can hardly hear the little Farmall Cub.
That's right. Real quiet. That's a garden tractor, right?
Absolutely. I believe it's a 2-cylinder also.
Got all the piles on it? Yeah, it looks good.
Yeah, here comes one with a gutted muffler.
No muffler at all, just a pipe.
2-cylinder. That's what we call a Dubuque tractor, built in Dubuque, Iowa, at the factory superseded the MT 420. And John Deere's biggest 2-cylinder is the G coming up with a straight stack. Give you an idea what it looks like. It has high cubic inches, well over 300.
I know the horsepower is according to the size of the engine. So what would be the horsepower one he just went by, John Deere?
That little one there, the little MT that just gone by, is about 20 horsepower.
Okay.
It depends on how you judge it, of course, but it's about 20. This 40 is the one that came directly after the MT. It's still a 2-cylinder, and it's manufactured. It was manufactured in Dubuque, Iowa.
Here's another Farmall pulling a loaded trailer. It's loaded with people.
That one's a Super C, a little more horsepower and probably a torque converter. That Super C sounding real good, isn't it?
Yes, they're quiet, isn't it? Jersey, Georgia, Hamby Farms.
Alice Chalmers developed this one as a good cultivating and farm
grasshopper
garden tractor. Very unique in looks.
This is an Oliver.
Oliver 77, popular tractor back in its day, but it didn't hang on too long after the war. It began to fade away quickly. Ford with a Ford V8. Very unusual. It's one that's been developed by the individual.
Right.
$440 big John Deere unit.
Okay.
The inline engine. I would have to guess at the horsepower, but I'd say around 160. It's a 1970s model.
New Holland.
New Holland is superseded Ford. After Ford decided to get out of the tractor business, they sold everything to New Holland, and they are the ones that maintain the
New Holland is making a comeback.
Yes, they've been known for years for their haymaking equipment.
That's a big Ford tractor. 9700. Where the economy is, though, it looks as if the tractors are going to be coming down in price.
Yes, it does. We get to see an H there of a farm haul. John Deere 50, very popular back in the early 50s, mid 50s. 60, to give you an idea of the two sides of the units. 50 and then the 60 and then the 70.
Right.
I also noticed that they're staying close together this year.
Again, this crowd fascinates me because there's so many people here today that, and in the past, there's never been this many people here.
It doesn't appear so.
It's close to 20,000 or 25,000 people here today, right here in Bostwick, Georgia. Alice Chalmers.
WD-45, their popular model. Very good tractor today and very popular in sales. I ran into it a few times along on some of my demonstrations. We were talking about the 530 a few minutes ago. This is the 630 with a straight stack. Loaded with people too in the good trailer.
It is. They decided to save something here.
You
it's
ever
on a
heard
truck.
the tough as a Mack truck?
Yes.
To give you a good idea. Oh, that's Wiley out of Good Hope. That's his 720. It looks showroom clean to me. The M model you see right there with the cutter on it, state of Georgia used to use a lot of those back in the late 40s and 50s.
How long is the blade?
It's 6 feet.
Okay. This town's going to be full all afternoon. It'll take all afternoon for all of these people to get out of this little place.
There'll be a big traffic jam trying to get away with once the parade is completed.
Right. I understand that John Deere will not stand behind something like that.
You got that right. The only thing they made, they wouldn't stand behind. I'm impressed with all the farm hauls that's coming through there. Boy, they're looking good.
They're classic. Well taken care of.
That's the late model Cub Cadet. Still looks good.
Yes, sir. Showroom new.
Showroom new.
Right. Quiet tractor.
Sounds good too.
Yes, sir.
another newer model of Farmall Cub. I don't know the year, decade that one was used, but I would say in the 70s, early 80s maybe.
Yeah, thanks for tuning in today. We've got a lot of dogs here at Walton County Animal Shelter. You know, some people think that the dog pound is nothing but a bunch of mutts and maybe sick dogs and ugly dogs, but you know, we get a whole lot of different kind of dogs here, from large breed Pyrenees, purebred Siberian Huskies, small dogs like a poodle and a Shih Tzu that we're going to show you today. Lots of different sizes, lots of different breeds, but even a little mutt like this one is a great dog. So you can look online at waltonpets.net. We post all of our animals there, so you don't even have to come down to the shelter. You can even apply online, send it in, and you just make one trip down to the shelter to adopt a new pet. As always, our adoption fee is just $40. That includes vaccination, deworming, a rabies shot. It also includes a discounted spay-neuter. We'll even do a microchip for you for free if you want, and some of the dogs that are old enough are even heartworm tested. All that for just $40. So really no need to go shopping elsewhere. Look to your local Walton County Animal Control Shelter. And now we'll show you some of the other dogs that are here for adoption.
We got a little female kitten. She's about 2 months old. Female, not spayed. Her name's Bailey. If you're interested, please give us a call. Come get her. We still are getting little kittens in.
This is Oreo. He's an 8-year-old Shih Tzu. He's a really good boy and he could really use a good home. This is Uno. He's about 10 months old. He's already neutered. He's a really sweet boy and he could really use a good home.
This is Cinnamon. He's a poodle mix. He's a male, about 7 years old. He's already neutered. He is housebroke and just needs a good home.
This is Richie. He's about a 3-year-old male black lab, very sweet dog. He's got a good disposition. He loves people. He loves playing with other dogs. He tested heartworm negative and he's already had his shots in deworming, so he's ready for a new home.
What we do to the planet, we do to ourselves. You can help keep America beautiful. Visit kab.org.
Green, green, green. It's your home, it's your dream. Radon testing, keep it healthy and clean. Make it green, green, green.
Making it green starts from the ground up, so make sure the air in your home is healthy for your family to breathe. Test your home for the presence of radon. Go to epa.gov/radon.
Make it green, green.